am kind of going through a difficult time right now. As some of you know, most of you, I'm not sure how many, almost 6 years ago, I was diagnosed with West Nile virus, and it turned into encephalitis, which is an infection of the brain. If you don't know the story, on my YouTube channel, you can see the entire story under my story. I know, really creative name, right? So you can go there and see the entire story, which this will make more sense after you watch that. But so the virus resulted in a 24-hour permanent headache. So we're not talking about migraines. I'm talking about a 24/7 headache for 22 months. So for almost 2 years, I had a constant headache. And I was just in so much pain. I mean, screaming, agonizing pain beyond what I can imagine, beyond what I could have imagined before it. That the doctors obviously had to put me on a lot of painkillers and narcotics. And we're not talking about like low dose narcotics, we're talking about heavy narcotics. So, I was dealing with this, and I had to be put on these strong drugs, and this was horrible to me. And it's actually, I laugh because all of this happened right out of high school for me, and I was like the squarest person you've ever met in high school. I mean, didn't smoke a cigarette, still haven't. Never drank, still really don't. Never did drugs. I mean, and now all of a sudden I'm on all of these narcotics, and it just made me sick, literally. And so about 2 years after, the headache finally improved enough that I was able to get off of the narcotics. And so I was having a lot of trouble trying to wean myself off because my body had become so addicted. So even though I wasn't mentally addicted, my body was what they call dependent. So there's addiction and there's dependency. So I wasn't mentally addicted. I didn't need the drugs. I didn't want the drugs, but my body was dependent. So I couldn't just stop. So a doctor gave me a medication that's kind of similar to Valium that to help me titrate down. And I asked her, "Is this addicting? Is this addicting?" And she's like, "No, not at all." Turns out it's one of the most addicting drugs on the market. So I have been dealing with that on top of it. And once I was able to get off of the headaches, to make matters worse, I had a relapse about 2 years ago. And the entire, on a scale of 1 to 10, like 24 headache came back 24 hours a day. So I had to go back on the narcotics, which was the last thing I wanted to do. It was horrible. So ever since then, I've been going through different narcotics, trying to titrate down, and I've gotten down really, really low, but I'm at a point where I can't keep doing it on my own, and I need somebody to help me. So there is good news, but scary news also. I've made the decision that I'm going to go to a detox facility. And basically what will happen is that they will, over 8 to 10 days, basically do a rapid detox. This is the not so fun part of withdrawal. Insomnia, pain, etc. And this is the time where it's like you just lay in bed and start to think, and your mind wanders, and you start to think of all of the details and the scary things, and sometimes you just have to give up. And you're probably thinking, what the heck is she talking about? Why are you giving up? But I'm not talking about giving up as in quitting. I'm talking about giving up as in giving up everything to God. Because if I try to carry this myself, there's just no way. I can't.
I am on my way to Virginia for my detox, and I'm not sure if I'm more excited or more terrified. I just talked to the doctor and they're all ready for me, and although he did say that he wants me to be as miserable as possible at the beginning so they can see how the medication affects me, so I'm not really looking forward to that, but I understand what they're saying. So, but at the end of the day, I just have to remember Joshua 1:9, where it says, "Be strong and courageous, do not be discouraged, for the Lord thy God is with you wherever you go." And that means detox too. So I am so excited to get this process started, and even more excited to get it over with.
I'm in Virginia. It is the night before my detox, and let's just say I'm a little wound up. This would be the third time I'm filming this video because the last two times I've talked for 20 minutes. So I'm going to try to make this one shorter. I'm, I guess, a little anxious and jittery, and when I get anxious and jittery, I talk a lot. More than usual, which is hard because I talk a lot usually. Anyway, so I wanted to kind of share with you guys my mindset going into this detox. And so I've got two things I want to share with you. The first one is a story my dad told me today when he was encouraging me, and it's about the Battle of Bastogne in World War II, 1944. Allies were winning, Germans thought they were beat, and they decided they were going to have this huge battle at Bastogne. The full tanks, troops, everything they had, they threw into this, and they defeated the Americans, the Allies, pushed them back, everything. And they thought they had a pretty good victory. And the head guy that was on the ground there went in to interrogate one of the POWs, prisoners of war, and comes back out, looks to the guy next to him and says, "We've lost the war." And the guy's like, "What? We just had this huge victory. What are you talking about? I don't understand." And the guy says, "That American in there, he has a freshly baked chocolate cake. It was baked 2 days ago and sent to him. The Americans have no concept of defeat." That's what I have. I have no concept of defeat, no concept of failure. I have completed day one. Yay. So it was quite an interesting day today. My first day of detox here in Virginia. Gosh, I don't even know how to describe it. It's very up and down. So they did like all the typical, take your blood, blah, blah, blah. And they basically just went over everything, and it was kind of interesting just because he kept talking about how, well, your case is different because, and your case is more difficult because, and I was like, okay, how different and difficult is it? So I guess that's me. Different and difficult. Just doing this in and of itself kind of gives me that encouragement and force to keep going. So we're going to do this. You guys and me together. Love you guys, praying for you, and thank you for your prayers.